Compare and order numbers, page 40 and 41. So comparing involves two numbers, always two, and you're basically comparing greater than, less than, or equal to. So when you got two numbers, you're comparing. One number will be bigger than the other unless they're equal. Ordering means three or more numbers. It could be 3, 4, 5. There's really no limit, but when you're doing ordering, you're putting them in order. Either the biggest number first, and then you keep going until you get to the smallest number, or they could flip it around and say least to greatest, where you start with the smallest first, and then kind of work your way through, and the last number would be the greatest number. Remember, you're doing ordering work. Always want to be really clear and sure that you're representing the answer the right way. If I wrote down the numbers, you don't have to write this down, 6, 12, and 4, and I said put those in order from least to greatest, and you wrote 12, 6, 4, you have gotten it wrong. That is not least to greatest, that was greatest to least. So the order matters a lot with ordering. If they want least to greatest, it's got to be in least to greatest. If they want greatest to least, make sure it's greatest to least. So just, again, read, and when you do your quiz and stuff, I try and really highlight that, but just make sure you know when you do this stuff which way you're going. That's about it. So we have some comparing here on page 40. We got some ordering, least to greatest. We got some greatest to least. We got some more comparing and some more ordering. So either we're ordering or comparing. The first part over here deals with the big numbers, up to the billions. And then the second part here, same thing. Now we're doing it with decimals, the tens, hundreds, and thousands place. So we'll compare really large stuff and we'll compare really small stuff with decimals. So comparing. There are three symbols we use for comparing. This is the less than symbol. This is the greater than symbol. And that is the equal sign. Nobody ever has issues figuring out what the equal sign does. But these two, some people have, and even eighth graders, like Colin today, less than is which way again? So, every year, 5th grade, 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade, we will do comparing and ordering. It doesn't go away. So
we have to write that down?
I would, unless you know it, 100% of the time. So a couple ways you can try and keep track of it. I'm going to write 4 and 2. So which one's greater, 4 or 2? What's the bigger number, 4 or 2? 4. Would you say that 4 is greater than 2? Or 4 is less than 2? I'd say 4 is greater than 2. So I use the greater than symbol, like this. Kind of looks like a Pac-Man guy to an extent. I mean, if I finish, right? Look at that. Now it's Pac-Man. See that? So the mouth always eats the bigger value. That's one way you can kind of remember it. The mouth here, yum, 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 always wants to eat the bigger number.
It's always super hungry.
Right. It's always super hungry. It wants to eat the 4. Think about it like reading a book. When you read a book, you work left to right. Or I guess for you guys looking at me this way, it would be like this, right? Start on the left, you read to your right, go to your left to right. So when you're doing these, it's the same thing. 4 is what? Greater than 2. If I wrote it this way, for example, 2. Is 2 less than 4? Yeah. So in this case, I'd be using the less than symbol. Notice how both times the mouth is eating the 4, right? Because the 4 is bigger both times. But how I say both of these is a little different. 4 is greater than 2. 2 is less than 4. So it's just left to right, just like reading that book there. And sooner, if you can lock this down here, which of the two symbols you need and what they mean and all that, so you're not battling your mind going, man, I don't know what symbol this is. So that's always the worst scenario when you know what the answer is. Well, clearly that's bigger, but you can't identify properly which of the right mathematical representations you need, which ultimately means you get it wrong. If you put the wrong answer, then it's wrong. That's how math works. Math is really interesting like that. It's either right or it's not right. 5 plus 2 is 7. There's no other answer, right? It's not 6. It's not 7.5. It's not -3. 7. It's the only answer that works. So a lot of math is like that. One answer only. Okay? We good with this? So the sooner, again, if you can file it away in your lifetime memory, that's even better. So we will do lots of comparing this year, next year, not so much in 7th and 8th grade, but we do it. So you'll see this on maps, forever. Okay. All right, so let's look at some problems. Page 40, I'm looking at number 1. Please write it out. Otherwise, when you're going through your notes, whatever you write has no context whatsoever. You show up to your notebook and all I see is something like this. What does any of that mean? What does any of that mean? So put some context here to your answer. Write the numbers out. Personally, I put a little space between them here. And I'll go through the first couple and give you guys a couple. So when we are comparing or ordering, I'll leave this up to you if you want this, but this is the rule. So in star. When comparing, start on the left or the greatest place value then work right until you find a difference. This is forever, not just 5th grade, but any comparing we ever will do in 5th grade, 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade, 9th grade. When you're comparing, you start on the left of the greatest place values. I'll let you guys write it out here, and then I'll show you how this all works and bring it home for you. When we're doing adding and subtracting, we start on the right. If I'm adding 2 numbers, you don't have to write this down like this. Well, I always start over here on the far right? The smallest place values, and then you work your way to the left. When you're comparing, though, we're going to start over here on the left. So really, I have these 2 numbers here, and the question is greater than, less than, or equal to. So where I would start is over in the hundred thousands column. Both of them start in the hundred thousands column. Agreed? So I compare these hundred thousands to each other. And I have 400,000 on the left, 400,000 on the right. I don't, nothing I can type. So now, if for example, this was 500, blah, 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 well, that would be the end of the problem, because 500,000 anything is certainly going to be greater than 400,000 anything, right? So I'm looking for a difference. And I ain't finding it in the 100,000s, in the 10,000s. I ain't finding it in the thousands column. We're still dead even. The hundreds column, the tens column, and finally the ones column. Oh, wait a second here. I think we got a difference here. Which value is greater? The one on the left or the one on the right? Which value is greater? Dominic.
The one on the left,
How do you know?
because the last digit.
Right. This is where the proof is right here. We had to go all the way to the ones column to make this happen, but 9 ones is greater than 6 ones. The answer is greater than. And 479,059 is a bigger number than 479,056, right? 59 is bigger than 56, 9 is bigger than 6, 9,059 is bigger than 9,056, and so on and so forth. What do you think? You can do it? I'll give you guys a couple here. Let's try number 4. Again, I apologize for the amount of writing we have to do. We're going to do 2 of these, and then we'll go something. I know it's not pleasant.
Can we just write the answer?
No, that's what I said not to do. Because then you got a whole bunch of this, and it doesn't mean anything. A bunch of symbols on a page here. I totally get this is pretty sucky, you know. But I told you the first day, the whole first chapter is kind of sucky. Gets better, but it's kind of sucky. You have to do a lot of writing in first chapter. So 2,356,100,910. Other side, 2,561,009,102. I'll give you one more. I'll just make one up here. How's that? Doesn't need to be this ridiculously long. Well, I guess I'll just do 7. Four and 7. I'll pull 2 sticks. So number 4 will be for Charlotte, and number 7 will be for Thatcher. But I want the answer, and I also want you to tell me how you know. What's your proof? Right? There's always proof here. So how do you know? Either you ready? Charlotte, you ready? What are you thinking? The what? Less than, like this? And how do you know? Right, she's looking in the 100 millions column. And that's all these other digits we wrote have no bearing whatsoever on at least what we're doing right now. They do have bearing, but if we're doing comparing work, they don't matter. Everything from this point on is pretty much useless information for what we need here, because 300 million anything is always going to be less than 500 million anything, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Thatcher, what are you thinking?
The left side, because that's in.
The left side, does that mean you want the greater than symbol or the less than symbol?
The greater than.
Like this?
Yep.
How do you know?
Because the left side's in the billions and the other one's in the 100.
Exactly. Nice eye to see it. If you were so fast and just started comparing, you go 6 and 9, well, it must be less than. But notice the place values. This 9 is in the 100 millions, same as this 3. They are in the 100 millions. This is in the billions column. This, in a way, has 0 billions. This is 999 million. This is 6 billion. 6 billion is certainly bigger than 900 million. So I would just wanted to see if you got less than, again, pay attention to your place values. If you got greater than, you saw what I wanted you to see. You need to be very careful that you're comparing the right place values to each other. Billions to billions, greater than. Good? Okay. Let's look at page 41. I will do one together and I'll give you one compare. I don't want you to have to do a lot of them. So Again, least to greatest, greatest to least, how we go about doing our business and setting it up will be identical. It's just take a moment to make sure when you're doing it, you read the directions. So we will do number 8. And if you want to give it a shot, that's fine too. So when I write this in my notes here, all right, there's the first number. And it's probably similar to the homework too. Here's your homework here. They want them ordered. See that there? There they are as such. But when I'm doing this ordering, I got 1, 2, 3, 4 numbers here. Yes? What I like to do is I like to rewrite them up and down. Up and down. So they're in this left and right horizontal form. We want them in up and down vertical form. Now, when I write them, I want to be very careful that I get the place values all kind of in the same column. So I got that. Now I'm going to get, what's my next number? 984, 321. Then I got 4113, 121, and finally 4,801,125. And so same 4 numbers here, I just rewrote them in a different way. I wrote them in my up and down way. And the reason I did that, again, if you look real carefully, you can see all my place values are all kind of together there, yes? But now what I want to put them in order from least to greatest. So same thing like comparing. I need to start on the far left, right over here. I got 4 million, 4 million, 4 million, and 4 million. Nothing to learn in the millions column. Agreed? So now let's go to the 100,000s column. 7, 9, 1, and 8. All 4 numbers are different, which means all the info I'm going to need to solve this problem happens to be right here. When you're doing this here, I am fine with you representing your answers this way. So the smallest one would be this one, we agree, the 100,000. So I'm just going to put a 1 like that next to it instead of rewriting them all out again. Which one would be second? Number 1, number 2, or number 3? Which one? Number 1, number 2, or number 3? Which one is the next value if I'm arranging them least to greatest? Number 2? That one would be the greatest one of all. Number 1, because 700,000 is less than 900,000 and less than 800,000. So if you want to cross them off when you're done with them, that's fine. But this one would be next in my chain. So smallest first, next smallest second. Which one comes next, number 1 or number 2? Number 2. 800,000 is less than 900,000. So this would be my order. Sure, I could write them all out for if you want to write them all out, write them all out. Again, but I strongly suggest you write them out this way when you're doing this here, just because it's so much easier to see all the place values this way than this way, in my opinion. I'm not telling you you have to do it this way. I just think it's a whole lot easier to see what's going on this way. That's why I'm doing it.
So can we just do that way on the test, like it wants this, or in the homework, just order it that way?
Yes, that's fine. If you're getting this answer in this order, I love how you did it. Whatever your means to the end are. If you can see it with your eyeballs right here and don't need to rewrite them, then fine. But if you struggle or it's hard, and even to this day, truth be told, this is always how I'll do my ordering work. I always set it up this way, even still. And I'm good at math, but I still do it this way. I still do it this way. Yeah.
Do we have to write the number down, or can we just write the, like, 1, 2, 3, and 4?
You can do that, but again, I would consider on a separate piece of paper, maybe rewriting the lists out yourself somewhere, right? If you're getting the right answers, I like how you did it, but you very well may want to rewrite them somewhere. Not a lot of room in your homework here. So just use another piece of paper. That's fine. Many people will save that piece of paper and show it to me, and some won't, but for 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17, 18, 19, 20, and 21, that's 10 ordering problems you got, so just consider your strategy. Okay? You guys try number 10. This time we're going greatest to least. Biggest to smallest. So number 10. And again, I'm just going to rewrite them in up-down form right away out of the book. So there's my first number. All right, so greatest to least. Looking for the biggest value first. So when I look at this, first observation I see is the third and the fourth number are pretty obvious to me. What comes in third and fourth place? Which of these four values is the smallest? Number 1, 2, 3, or 4? Which one's the smallest?
2.
Yeah, clearly, because it has, so right off the bat here, I mean, if you want, I already know that one's going last. I only asked it because it kind of sticks out like a sore thumb, doesn't it? Right. And again, if you don't write them up and down, I don't know. Would you have seen that there? I don't know. Maybe you would, maybe you didn't. But when you write them up and down, it's just so obvious that this one has 8 digits and everything else has 9 digits to it. So which one's in third place? Number 1, number 2, or number 3?
Third place?
Mm-hmm.
2.
2, right? Because 159, right, is less than 162. So those are the two smallest ones. Now, question is, which one's the biggest? Which one's first place? How do you know?
Because it says 550 instead of 475.
So he's saying 100,000s. And that is correct. So when you're trying to figure out the biggest this time, and again, I already crossed these other two out, but we got to compare these two against each other. We got to compare them against each other here. And we have to go out 4 place values to find it, right? 500,000 anything is always bigger than 400,000 anything. That would be our order. Yes? Big numbers. Now we're going to do it again, but we're going to look at the decimals. Okay, so back to comparing one more time, greater than, less than, equal to. Let's look at number 12. So I got that, and I got that,
Can I help you with that one?
if you want, sure.
Okay, on that one, everyone put a 0 after the last number.
That's what we're going to do that.
So if you put that 0, then you just look at those and you say,
So, yep, what she's saying here is, and I would say this too, when you are working with decimals, whether we are comparing, whether we are ordering, The first move you may want to consider is making sure you write both or all the values with the same number of place values, especially with decimals. Now, when we're dealing with big numbers, we kind of saw how that worked there. I mean, I could put a 0 here if I want, just so there's a spot in there. But with decimals, it's a lot more tricky. So the first thing I would do here, if I saw this problem, is I would realize this number has how many decimal places? How many decimal places? 3. How many does this one have? 2. Not the same number at all, is it? So how can I write this with 3 decimal spots? Yeah, what would I do? Right, I can add one of those place value zeros, and we did this before with some of our lessons. We do this, I haven't changed the value at all. I just added 0 thousandths, and adding 0 to anything changes nothing. So once I got them set up, I now have the same number of place values, the same number of decimals. I'm ready to do what I need to do. Just like with the largest numbers, we'll start on the left. We'll continue working to the right till we find our difference. Dominic, which place value am I going to find my difference in? Where am I going to find my answer? What place value?
The one to the right.
The what?
Call that one.
The one,
It doesn't sound like a word to me. It sounds like,
the second one.
Or what is that?
7 and 300.
anybody, what place value do I need to focus on here to get my answer? Thatcher.
The last one. Wait,
Nope.
the middle one.
Again, there's a word for that place value.
Oh, the 10.
The tenths column. 1 decimal is what?
10.
2 decimals is
100.
3 decimals.
1,000.
Right. Still the same as every day we've done this. So my answer is found in the tenths column. These numbers have no value for comparing, not for what we're doing today. 7 and 0 is always going to be less than or greater than 7 and 8 tenths. Less than, right. The mouth is going to eat the bigger number. 0 tenths is less than 8 tenths, always. Try number 13. I'll give you 2 on your own. This one and that one and this one. Greater than, less than, or equal to. I got 2 sticks in there. And of course, I need you to justify your answer to me. All right. 13. Emma, what are you thinking here? What would you want to do first here? What? I'm sorry, I couldn't hear. Thanks, Diane. Loud hallway all of a sudden here. So the first thing I would do is write them with the same number of decimal spots. So which one of these do I need to add a decimal spot? Right. And how can I add a decimal spot over there? I can just add a, yeah. There we go. Now they're both written with the same number of decimal spots. So what are you thinking? Greater than, less than, equal?
Greater than,
Why?
not equal,
Equal. Why is that?
because they're both the same.
Yeah, every single, in the tens column, they both have a 1. In the zeros column, they both have a 0. In the tenths column, they're both an 8. And in the hundredths column, they're both a 0. I don't have any place values left. They are equal. They are equal. And again, we talked about that concept before. We were comparing that we can add as many zeros as I want. They're still equal, aren't they? I haven't changed anything at all. Adding zeros doesn't change anything. They're still equal. 17, Kana.
Add decimals to
What?
that. Add decimals to that
Yeah.
and put digits.
Yep. So what's my answer here? Greater than, less than? It's not, I'll tell you, it's not equal to. I'm gonna give you that. It's a freebie from me to you. Not equal to, Kana.
Greater than.
Greater than, you sure?
Yeah.
How do you know?
Because there's a 1.
And what's over here?
What?
What's over on the other side?
A 0.
Right. You got it. 1 is always greater than 0.
No.
Okay. We are so close here. We gotta do last part. So, order, least to greatest. It says least to greatest and greatest to least. We'll just do least to greatest. We'll do one together, one for you guys, and then we're done. So, number 18. And I'm gonna just employ the same strategy I used up here, where I'm going to rewrite these all in my vertical form, up and down. So, same deal. We only have 3 numbers here. So I'm going to write them up and down. I got 6 and 161 thousandths, 6 and 311 thousandths, and 6 and 662 hundredths. There they are. What do you think I'm going to do first? I got to do it. What am I going to do first? I just got to do it. Right. Man, I got to get them all at the same. So that's the first thing I'm going to do. And again, just like before with the big numbers, making sure we get all those place values lined up. Which way should we go? Let's go least to greatest. So on your own, take a moment, ponder, consider, mull it over. Which place value is going to pretty much have everything I need to know here? Which place value is where the answers, besides Dominic? Oh, okay. Thanks, Dominic. The tenths column. We're not going to learn anything in the ones column, are we? They're all 6. Right? So of these 3 here, number 1, number 2, or number 3, which one's the smallest, Dominic? The first one? How do you know?
Because 1 is less than 3.
1/10 is less than 3/10, which is also less than 6/10. Next up, Emma, what comes after 6 and 161 thousandths in my sequence?
Second one.
The second one, how do you know?
Because it's smaller than 6.
Right. 3/10 is smaller than 6/10, and by default, 6/10, which is greater than 3/10 and greater than 1/10, has to be our greatest value. Okay? What do you think? All right, last one here. Let's see. Which one do you guys want? 19, 20, 21, 22, or 23? Which one? Whoever says a number first, that's the one. What? I heard 20. 505. 20 it is. Least to greatest. Then we're done. And 5 and 500ths. 5 and 51 thousandths. 5 and 53 thousandths. Least to greatest. For your planner people, I'll just write it down now. Your homework tonight is page 5, problems 1 through 24. Very understandable if you need another sheet of paper to do some of the problems tonight, please use another sheet of paper. If you do, I suggest trying to just rewrite some of these in this up-down form. So it takes a little while. Some of the numbers are giant. I get the pain and suffering you're gonna have to endure, but it will get better. If you can get in the habit of it, then you are so golden. Golden is that wide receiver the Packers drafted. They drafted some guy named Golden in the first round on their football team to play football for the Green Bay Packers. I don't like him because he's not
How much more
a
time do we have until we?
Thousands. Okay.
Are you still recording Bears talk?
Oh yeah, you know how it goes. Okay. Anybody wanna help me? Should I just pull a stick and move this on? Kana, what are you thinking? What are you seeing? What are you doing here? Kana's gonna add a 0. Okay. Which one do you think is the smallest? Number 1, 2, or 3? She thinks number 1 is the smallest. Thatcher, what would come after number 1?
Number 2.
That one. So you're telling me it's already in order? I think you guys are right. Which place value this time, Charlotte, did I find my answers from? Which place value really had the answers for me? Which is the thousands column right here. This is where all my answers could have been found because I had a tie, a tie, a tie. I didn't learn anything until I got here. In addition, adding this 0 here really helped this time, I think, didn't it, for this type of problem? Because essentially I'm comparing 50, 51, and 53 against each other. Yes? Any questions? Okay, we got about 15 minutes, so you guys can work on your homework. If you need help, I am here